Buenas noches, part 2. I hate it. When this happens, talk about train of thought gone. I saw the end of it and I came up and went, here, have these. Who knows what I can say in those 15-20 minutes. 4.5 billion years old. This one is 1 million years old. Okay, let's just say that those were confirmed. Now, take these and backtrack the other way. Undecaying, right? They decay, half-life, gets to the stage where we know how old it is. Now, 1 million, 4.5 billion years old. Reverse up. Beep, beep, beep. Both of them together and do it backwards. And see if anybody notices anything. If anybody understands the science. I'm not sure what I may have read. I've got a brain, the memory span of a dogfish. But luckily, we have a couple of words, so I know what it was about. It was about being objective and understanding that it is the education system, when you were children, that is making you not objective. Anybody who watches a solar eclipse play out, who has never heard of the science, who's totally objective about everything, properly objective, bit of logic, bit of common sense, will never, ever see anything to suggest there is a light delay. We have to understand this, okay? We have to understand this. Anybody who watches a solar eclipse play out and who suggests that there is a light delay of 8 minutes and 20 seconds because of a photon express is thinking that because of this. And when they're observing the solar eclipse, they are being far from objective. Now, the trouble is, do the people who know, do the people who are not objective know that they cannot be objective? Or are they watching the solar eclipse play out and going, yeah, there is an 8 minute and 20 second photon delay in there somewhere? Maybe when they're talking to me. Do they know that they're not being objective? Guaranteed. It wouldn't be a thought. People who are looking at that, oh yeah, 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Oh, but I'm not being objective, so it isn't really a logical thought that people would have. Because if they had that thought, that would already put a couple of seeds of doubt, at least a couple of seeds in there that could slowly grow. There is no delay. Nobody would see a delay unless they had been chipped, right? That is a fact. It is a fact. It's the education. And nowadays, I don't even know what they've done to the education system out here. The kids are not learning anything. What they're learning is they're now being taught how to sit in a classroom for 6 hours and don't do that. Detention. For what? For the way you said what? After I gave you it's just, it has a feel, like I actually said to the principal, I think it was, there's more discipline here than there was in the army, the kids at the moment. It's no fun. School is not a fun place to be. It's just not. They're not. The people who are running the show. They've infiltrated the education systems. They're not learning anything. Here's one. Here's one. Yesterday or the day before. I haven't not looked it up yet, right? So I don't know if it was one of these things that could be BS, all right? I honestly don't know. But somebody came on, I think it was TikTok, somewhere. They were talking about addition, the way that children are being taught to add in schools in the US. I'm sure it was the US. Let's say we have 56, 72, right? We added them up. What we used to do was 8, 12, right? So easy. Let's put another big number there so we have a carry, right? 99. So we know it's 155 already because we take 1 off of that, but right, 15. We carry the 1, 5 and 9, 14, 15, 155. Now what I was seeing, I didn't really pay that. Well, I was trying to pay attention, but I was doing something else. So let's say we had those two numbers, 55 and 99 or whatever it was, 56. I saw something like they were separating all the 10s and going 10, 10, 10, 10, and then over here there was like a 1, 1, 1, something. I don't know if it was one of these stupid things, because I didn't pay proper attention to it, but if that is how they're teaching the kids to add in the US, well, what is there to say, right? Well, there's just this, the chaos is everywhere. Politicians aren't running the show at all. They're not. Stuff that's happening here, you can hear it everywhere, everywhere. From UK, places in Europe, in Spain, just everywhere, New Zealand. Everybody is saying the same thing. What the fuck is going on? There is chaos on the way, right? There is chaos. It is, I think, imminent now. But what is that chaos going to be? I have heard things like everything is getting switched off for a spell, month, or I don't know. I've heard, well, some things I don't even want to say, all right? Just chaos. Then you hear every single billionaire has got a bunker. We all know that some of them do. Apparently, they all do, right? Why would everybody need a bunker? To get away from us, maybe. I don't know. Is there going to be a natural disaster? Well, when this place does one, it's water. So if they have got bunkers, one would hope that they're waterproof. Because if that happens, then I wouldn't want to be in a bunker, to tell you the truth. Depends if it's a really proper airtight thing. Look, I have seen the changes and I can see it in my own child's school. I can see it in the things that he is being expected to learn. I'm seeing it in his face when he goes to school and in his face when he gets back from school. Like I don't know if I said it earlier or if I said it in the bit that I lost, but the only reason I feel he is going is because of the legal requirements. He's got to finish this year before he comes out. He's not learning. None of them are. None of them are. They're just not learning anything worthwhile. Now, just a quick on Bradley, right? Just a bit on Bradley. This is about the amount of times, everything that I've noticed, the patterns, the hint at it's round, it's round, it's round, all right? Observe and measure. it became increasingly imperative for astronomers to be able to observe and measure the parallactic displacement of a star, the change in a star's position over a 6-month period, to confirm the orbital motion of the Earth around the Sun. Okay. Then we have such information will provide the empirical, and I've had a few people, this is the thing that gets me, when people are talking about evidence and this, and people say, there's empirical evidence. It's not their words, they just copy stuff. Like the memes. See, I don't know if I said that in the bit that I've already posted or not. Look, your inability to understand, and you're this and that, and if you disagree with a scientist, you are just wrong. That's all there is to it. That mentality is what I just cannot understand. How misguided are people if that is what they think? Is that what people think? We are that naive that you think if somebody has a disagreement with a scientist that that person is wrong. You do not have the common sense to understand what is going on. People just cannot differentiate between bullshit and science. That's one of the issues. You know why? Because they cannot be objective. You have no idea. The luxury is to be objective, to be able to look at something and see it for what it is, not see it because of human nature has been tampered with when I was a child, right? It's when you don't know something is happening, you wouldn't have any idea that the things that you are thinking are logical. They aren't. And this is the problem. This is why logic is not a thing anymore, because people believe the illogical, right? Providing empirical evidence needed to augment the mathematical and conceptual arguments thitherto advanced for the idea that the sun does not revolve around the earth, right? It's just this fairly relentless, now that I've spotted the pattern, it is, you know. Although he failed to detect parallax, still Bradley, because the star was too far away, forget firmament, too far away star, Bradley made one of the two discoveries for which he's famous. He observed the Gamma Draconis shifted south in position by an astonishing 1 tick of arc. 2 and 1. That 2, I presume it's minute of arc, in 3 days. The wrong direction and by too large an amount to be accounted for by parallax. Right here, not only are they talking rubbish, they have actually added by an astonishing 1 minute of arc in 3 days, the wrong direction and by too large an amount to be accounted for by parallax. That sentence has been put onto the end of that paragraph, and anybody who would have thought, on reading that, the wrong direction and by too large an amount to be accounted for by parallax, that kind of cements it as real. I mean, how would it be in the wrong direction, right? If it wasn't a real thing. This is what they do. All of the Apollos, I think 10 as well, all of them, there was always something, an issue, something quite serious to focus on that would take a lot of the focus off the actual fact that there was people flying around in space. With Apollo 11, it was the fuel when they descended to the moon. And he only had like 10 seconds left. It's just so stupid. But that was the thing, wasn't it? The main thing of Apollo 11, apart from being first, was how close it got with the fuel. And people actually say, well, how can it be fake if that thing with the fuel happened? What you don't understand is that thing with the fuel that happened is just to prop up the story. All of the little things, the little add-on things, they are there to prop up an unlikely story. This is what people don't get. Apollo 13, it happened to prop up the whole thing, right? People thinking that it blew an oxygen tank and still made it up there and come back down. It's this lack of understanding what is possible and what is not possible, and what is real and what is not real in the case of the Apollos. That's one of the few where it's both real and not real, possible and impossible. It really is. He observed that Gamma Draconis shifted south in position by an astonishing 1 minute of arc in 3 days. The wrong direction and by too large an amount to be accounted for by parallax. Oh, it must be true. A minute arc. Do I still remember? Let's see. In 1726, right? In 1726, he observed, was it 3 days? In 3 days. 3 days, a minute arc. Do we know what a minute arc is? If I remember rightly, over 1 million units in 360 degrees. If I remember rightly. It's been a while. So, we have a circle. We have 360 degrees. 90, 180, 270, 0 and 360. Right? So that's 90 degrees. In 1 degree, we then come over here. We're going to zoom in. So we're going to zoom in 1 degree, right? So this is a rather large 1 degree. So 1 degree, there's 90 degrees in there, right? This is 1 degree. In the 1 degree, we have 60 minutes. So there are another 60 partitions inside that 1 degree. So it would be a 60th of a degree. But then, inside each of these minutes, which there are 60 of, there are 60 seconds in each minute. So, in 1 degree, we have 60 times 60. There are 3,600, I'm sure that's right? In 1 degree, 3,600 sections, partitions in 1 degree. So, 1 minute arc would be 1/60th of a degree. And he observed that 1 minute of arc in 3 days. So, the amount of accurate arc measuring tools, I'm pretty sure that they would have been fairly scarce in 1728-6, right? Now, Google, you'll probably find that there was a shop, there was a trade of that kind of stuff back in the day because they add stuff. They add stuff. Whenever they see that there's a something deficiency, they just add it. That doesn't happen with the books. So he went out looked up at the sky, and over 3 days he noticed that a star had moved 1/60th of a degree, and in the wrong way. No, he didn't. He just didn't. It is said that the explanation for this phenomenon came to Bradley as he sailed on the Thames, observing how the wind vane on the mast shifted position with the varying motion of the boat, even though the wind had not changed direction. He concluded that the apparent stellar shift was brought about by the aberration of light, which was a result of the finite speed of light and the forward motion of the Earth in its orbit around the Sun. Again, listen, there is a pattern. There is. Parallax in astronomy. Parallax in astronomy, the difference in direction of a celestial object as seen by an observer from two widely separated points. So on Earth, somebody here and somebody here, and they're looking at something up in space, right? The measurement of parallax is used directly to find the distance of the body from Earth, geocentric parallax, and from the Sun, heliocentric parallax. The two positions of the observer, so me and somebody else, right? We're observing something up there. The two positions of the observer and the position of the object form a triangle. Right? If the baseline between the two observing points is known and the direction of the object as seen from each has been measured, the apex angle, the parallax, and the distance of the object from the observer can be found simply. Right, so I'm here, there, I'm looking up at a star, I'm looking at it, somebody on another continent is also looking up at that same star, right? Don't forget something here, folks. We didn't have phones, okay? Just a little bit of info. I'm looking up at the star. I've got somebody. We have no communication whatsoever. So how do we arrange which star? So we could arrange before the person goes to another continent, which would take months back in the day. So let's not do another continent. Let's say from southern Italy to Copenhagen in Denmark, right? So I am let's go from Rome and somebody in Denmark, in Copenhagen, right? So we're in Rome, right, you go, we will do it, come out here, it's that star there, right? And we will do it, it's going to take you at least a month to get, you've got to go over the water, it could be rough at this time of year. So we are going to do this on the 7th of June. The 7th of June, you, wherever you are, you look up at the sky and see that star there. So you're going to be over that way a bit. So it might be a little bit that way. Now, at 10 o'clock at night, you look up at that star from Copenhagen, where you are, and you work out what angle it is from you. And we are making a triangle. So you know I'm here, you're up there, and that is the star we're going to be looking at. We're going to work out the angles of me and you, your angle to the star, my angle to the star, and we can then work out the distance to that object. Simply. Okay? Roger that, roger that. See ya, go, go, go. You've got to be there in 6 weeks. Off that person goes. we don't hear from him. He's going to Denmark. We are in Rome. He's got to go up. Bit of Austria, I think, Germany. He's got a trek. No vehicles. Right? 5, 6 weeks go by. Shit, 10th, matey should be right. 10 o'clock that night, I am out looking up, and I have to hope that he made it. There's no communications, right? I have to hope that he made it, that it's not a cloudy night, because this is the night we decided to do it. And I say to myself, well, I know he's in Copenhagen, it's going to be our baseline. The angle is whatever. Not 90 degrees, it's over there a little bit. So we'll say 88 degrees. And him, all the way up there, up north, is going, right, there's the star. And the angle I'm seeing is maybe 87. That way. So we're both going that way, right? And these angles are, you can work out the distance rather simply with those angles. So he does that. Then I have to wait 6 weeks for him to get back. Oh God, it's been 5 weeks. I hope he's all right. There would be a fair chance that if you did that 12 times per year, back in the day, that out of those 12 times, you would never, ever see that person again after they left, because they could have been robbed by bandits, loads of things, loads of unknown variables. It would not have been easy. Oh, there he is, 6 weeks later. How would you go? Yeah. It was cloudy. Fuck. All right, look, let's head for September. Right, have a good night's sleep and back up there. This time we'll back up with another day, just in case. How would I ever know if the first night is going to be cloudy? How would I know if he was going to get there? Something like they make it sound so easy would take a minimum of 3 months just for the trip there and the trip back. It's very easy to read when you ignore the minor details, which is what I always say. And the distance of the object from the observer can be found simply. Look, the amount of stuff that suggests, that's constantly suggesting. I may have read this in the first bit I did. Let's read it again, just a little bit. All forms of electromagnetic radiation, including visible light, travel at the speed of light. For many practical purposes, light and other electromagnetic waves will appear to propagate instantaneously. Here, see, I wouldn't know that it's travelling at 299, no. It seems absolute to me because it's all close. Absolute speed, 299,000 kilometers per second. There would probably not be a difference. Even if it was travelling at 50,000 from here, not much difference. But for long distances and very sensitive measurements, their finite speed has noticeable effects. Not here though, we don't see that. We wouldn't see that. GPS, LiDAR, LIGO, LiDAR, all of those things. You notice it there, people are told, because that is one of the communal sayings, isn't it? Well, how does LiDAR work then? How does GPS work? It's the thing, isn't it? Science has introduced you to those things, and it's one of the things you use, like a light source radiating its light is the same as a hose squirting water. They are. Same speed as well, isn't it? These things, this is not people speaking. The system has shoved these up the behind and people use them because they sound good. What do you mean light is absolute? How does GPS work then? Honestly, $1 for every time. Just $1 for every time somebody has said that to me. Make my Rumble earnings look like nothing. Any starlight viewed on Earth is from the distant past, allowing humans to study the history of the universe by viewing distant objects. When communicating with distant space probes, it can take minutes to hours for signals to travel. Ingenuity. They couldn't have anything live. They don't have radio transmissions that can reach Mars. They don't have anything that can reach the moon. The reason in this one for finite light is because they need a delay. They need a delay. They could not be talking live to Ingenuity because that means the pictures would be there right away as well. And that means that we would see it flying live. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Let's make it about 300,000 kilometers per second. Just do 299,792,458 meters per second. That sounds real. 300,000. And then we can use 300,000 just for the quick ones. All right, roger that. And think about Giza. You know the coordinates? That's the one. These things are not what people think, right? There are too many patterns, folks. There are too many patterns. Massive particles, this stuff. The expansion of the universe is understood to exceed the speed of light beyond a certain boundary. Look, no, I'm not, well, you know I'm not solving any of these people anyway. I'm just not. How it is said that the explanation for this phenomenon came to Bradley as he sailed on the Thames, observing how this shit didn't happen. It's so corny. It's like the apple and Newton. Seriously, that Newton. Look, folks, this is, whether you like to accept this or not, it is another slam dunk. People who think there is a light delay are thinking there is a light delay because it has been suggested. The power of suggestion. Childhood education. Bang, 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 delay. Photons, bang, 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 delay. Photons. Years and years later, that stuff sticks. Logic has done one. So this doesn't really make sense. It doesn't tie in with common sense. Science doesn't care about your common sense. The universe does not have to make sense to you. Oh, okay. Somebody tells me to drop my common sense. I'd be like, excuse me? But no. I remember when I first learned that. So I used to say to people, defies common sense, logic. And they'd say, common sense doesn't play here. I'm like, what are you talking about? Common sense doesn't. That is how I found out. And somebody joined the chat and said, science doesn't care about your common sense. And I went, what are you talking about? We were told, science does not care about your common sense. The universe doesn't have to make sense to you. Your inability to understand something does not mean that there is no light delay. There has been a charge at the education system. It's everywhere, right? But now, they're not even, Common sense. Now that is rare. It really is. It really is. Jeez. Science doesn't care about your common sense. Only a liar and somebody with no common sense already would even suggest that. Seriously, folks. And that is a slam dunk. You don't drop your common sense. I don't know if I said this on the first part, or I said it in the second part that I didn't. The reason I didn't, that's because it defied common sense. That's why. The initial reason I was screaming, don't do it, and got the old bans, because it defied logic and common sense. Why not? It defies logic, common sense. We've known forever that there are trials. These things take years. First trial, placebo trials, mix and match. 3 years later, phase 2. And then 3 years later, phase 3, 9, 10, 11, a decade, sometimes more. And this thing come out the same year as the virus. Pure common sense. That was the initial. No way, I said. No, over my dead body. And look what happened. People were laughing at me. And that was the day that they said they're coming out, what was it, in March? It was before Christmas, and there was a couple of months to go before the first one was administered. I had the bans the same week that they had I was fucking going crazy. How is this possible? How can people not see? Something has happened. Nobody thinks. There's no critical thinking. Everybody just does. Over there, everybody here. That's what it seems like. Does nobody question anything anymore? And now, digital ID, this hantavirus, are people falling just for everything? I bet there are people out there that are saying, I wonder if I can get the hantavirus jabberoo in the same place that I get my boosters for the other one. Get them both done at the same time. It would not surprise me that somewhere somebody has said something like that. On TV, on one of the local channels, I didn't see it, but I do believe, I did see it a couple of months ago, they were still saying, come and get your next booster. What the is it possible that there are people who still don't know what is happening, what happened? And the files, are there people out there who don't know? They just tried to kill everyone, and they're eating the babies, eating the children. Is there a human being on this planet that is not aware of what is going on? That is my question, honestly. Because why would anybody fall for it again? Right, well, I'm afraid if you don't have it, you cannot go here, there, or anywhere. Fine, exactly. Like I did last time. I will stay at home. Have fun with it. I'm not complying. I'm not an idiot. Onus. And then they say, we're not forcing anybody, but if you don't get it, kids can't go to school, parents can't go into the shopping centre, and in the same sentence again. But we're not forcing you. Here, you must vote. It's a must. It's not a voluntary thing. Last 2 years, 2 fines that I managed to slide out of because I had cluster headache that and I couldn't make it. So I did not vote. 2 years now. why would I vote? Why? How is it even possible to think it's a thing? It's mandatory. They are making me vote for a party. Which one? No, thank you. I don't see anything that really turns me on this time around. Catch me next time around. But you have to. But I don't want to. You have to. But I don't want to. And if nobody wanted to, that is when the message is sent. But here, who's got the backbone to not go and vote here in Australia? Just nobody. We're not like Ireland. I say we. Too many people are not like the Irish, where every one of them got up, knew what was going on, and stood up for what was right at any cost. Here, everybody just rolls over, rubs each other's belly. Not everybody, but from what I've seen, I don't know many people who, the first time around, some people were like me. Fuck that. Other people just right, let's finish up. One neighbour down there sick, one neighbour the other side sick, a couple of mates died of heart attack. Epstein fucking files. And then we presume that someone somewhere in some kind of place with enough leverage, enough influence, there has to be something being lined up, and the trap is just going to hit at the same time. And there are going to be some heads rolling, because if not, are we all just waiting for somebody else? I mean, we all know that nobody is going to come and save us. We need to save ourselves. It's just impossible. Just stay frosty. Don't believe everything you hear. If you have any doubts about something, message me and I'll tell you if it's true or not. Right. Anybody who thinks there is a light delay in between the sun and the moon is not seeing things as they are, right? They are seeing it because they have been nudged in a certain direction with childhood learning, the emotional growth years. They've been tweaked. They can no longer see certain things, certain subjects objectively. Not everything, but this one. They are not looking at things objectively. But are they aware that they are not looking at things objectively? This is important, because if they are not aware that they're not being objective, that they don't know about the childhood education thing, then, I mean, that is a mountain to climb to get out of it. Being aware that you cannot be objective is already a massive push in the right direction, because you will be thinking about it all the time. Well, it doesn't look like there is a delay, does it? Maybe that conspiracy theorist was right. Folks, there's no delay. There's no visible delay. You can't just make one up and insert it somewhere. There's nowhere to insert an 8-minute 20 gap of photons anywhere. What do you do? And then we have that thing, 45, right, 45. stopping in 15 minutes. It's right here, folks. It's right here. They are saying that the sun is 150 million kilometers away, and they are saying that it takes 8 minutes and 20, right? To get there. But the thing is, there is definitely no sign of 8 minutes and 20 anywhere. It's just not there. It's not there. Anybody thinks it is, it's because they cannot be objective. There is no sign, no, of any delay. But the sun is directly behind the moon in that moment, right? We're looking full frontal. The sun is behind that moon, directly behind that moon. Delay? No, there isn't. So, if it were travelling at absolute speed and it's 150 million kilometres away, that's what we would see. The sizes, even though one's 400 big, it's hard to argue with that one. Could be a coincidence, right? But the delay. There is no delay. If there is no delay, there is no logical reason to believe that that sun is not directly behind the moon. What about NASA photos and that? Stop! Objective, right there. People cannot be objective. The moon landings. Anybody who believes 6 between 69 and 72, you really, really need to understand that you are not looking at these things objectively, right? There's not even a 1.3 second delay from the moon, right? There is no light delay. There is no light delay. There is just the question of where is the sun then? Everybody up in arms. Fucking hell, mate. We know solar system, planets, the sun. No. No, we do not. We presume. I have been presuming all of my life. I cannot anymore. Even when I looked up at Jupiter and with a telescope, there is always a chance that things are not what we seem. It wouldn't be smart to think otherwise. There are too many lies being told on this subject. To believe everything just because we've believed it for so long is not logical, not with what we are up against. Me, I've always thought when I looked up at Jupiter, and you can see them in the night sky, telescope had it out, Saturn, seeing it's a long way away, but Jupiter, 750 million kilometers away. A moon with a diameter of 3,660 kilometers. Seeing it with a telescope at a distance of sometimes nearly 1 billion kilometers away. 900 and something that Jupiter gets at some point when it's furthest from us and Earth is on the other side of the sun. It's nearly 1 billion kilometers. Saturn, 1.4 billion to 1.5, depending where we are and it is in its orbit. These are billions of kilometers. That's 1,000 million. Can see it. And the moon, when you look at it, it's right in your face with a telescope, isn't it? It is. And I am being objective, right? Which is why I can say to myself easily, very easily, that everything may not be as it seems. It isn't logical to compare everything that we think is happening on a round planet around us, that if it was flat, everything would be the same. People saying, well, how would an eclipse work then? How would this happen? How would that happen? If it does turn out to be flat, I doubt very much that everything is going to work as we think it may. If there is a firmament, I mean, me? Wow. Phew. Where do you go from there? So this week, within the next 6 days now, I will get my telescope down to somewhere where I can see even the pylons down at Burnett Heads. It's going to happen. It will be spontaneous. I might not even have a chance to say, right, I'm going this afternoon. Something will just crop up and I will go. First thing you know is when I post it. And I will. Doesn't matter what I look at, what things, the moon, where I think the sun is, where I think Jupiter is. It does not matter where I think anything is, and it doesn't matter how many things I see on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. It does not matter how many things I see. It doesn't matter who is talking about the things that they have done themselves. All of that is irrelevant. If I want to be sure, I have to do it myself. I have to find the easiest thing, because there are a few things that can be done to prove if it's round or, and something's telling me that I would have to do more than just one thing. One thing is for sure, all of these TikToks, they can't all be true, because some are saying flat, but we did this, some are saying round. Me, like I have said, I am leaning towards flat for obvious, logical reasons. It's more logical to think it's flat than it is round, especially with the lies. 299792. Every single equation that had those numbers in, every single equation is wrong. Slam dunk, like it's absolutely, there's no delay. Anybody who thinks there is a delay when observing a solar eclipse is not seeing things as they are playing out. They have excess baggage with them, and that excess baggage is creating a non-existent light delay, folks. It cannot be argued with. If there was something, just a glitch somewhere, but nothing suggests finite light, photons. It just doesn't. So again, it's a bad call. It's early education. It's a tweaking of human nature. And those who don't know that it is that, if anybody who's watched this and who believes that there is a light delay and has heard me say, listen, the reason there isn't, the reason you think there is because of tweaking when you were a child. I wonder how many people would just block that thought and ignore it because of cognitive dissonance. This is the danger. Because this, I only come up with that today, didn't I? I think, like specifically, if you see it with a delay, it's because you are not being objective, and that is because of childhood education. See, I don't know how I would feel. It's difficult. Would I just go, oh, I see. Right, then there might not be a delay. Or would I, because I'm that indoctrinated, fight it? What a load of rubbish. I know that there is a delay. It's got nothing to do with childhood education. I am being objective. See where it's at. It's complicated. It's complicated. But there is no light delay. There is not. All right, just make sure everybody gets the memo and we check in tomorrow. I just hope that some people out there are hearing what I'm saying. We need to start believing in things that we know, can touch, see, that lines up with logic and common sense. 1 + 1 = 2. Everything is complicated, and it shouldn't be. Light isn't complicated. It's not. Don't believe everything. Don't be afraid of anything. Don't fear anything. It's a fear-based system. Every time you feel fear, laugh it off. It works. Fear. Here's a thing. Fear. Is it logical to fear death? No. Because people who fear death fear life. Because all they're thinking about is when it ends. So it will take the beauty out of life. It is not logical to fear something that we don't know. Hell. Nice one. BS. It is not logical to fear something that we don't know, especially if it is going to affect the now for us. People should be too busy living this life to be worrying about that. Fuck, I don't have time to worry about things like that. I'm too involved right now. If it happens, I won't even know. It will happen when I'm at the boards or something. Those footsteps come together. You know that, what's his name song? Mama says the truth is all that matters. And then the 2 feet come together. I gotta keep on moving or I will die. You know the one. All right, folks. We have got ourselves a wrap, I think. God, I'm all over the shop. I'm tired, confused, but at least I'm seeing things objectively. There is no delay. It's absolute light. Is the sun directly behind the moon at 150 million kilometers away, or is it directly behind the moon? Directly behind the moon. Is Earth flat? Oh, stop it. Dogs are going to bark now. They didn't bark. That's not a good sign. Somebody could have thrown meat over the fence with tranquilizer stuff in it. Okay. Stand to it. All right, folks. Stay frosty.